Do you remember when you cried in silence, calling on Archangel Michael? When, through tears, you repeated your decrees like someone speaking to the heavens from the bottom of an abyss? She heard you. Yes, she was nearby, and she laughed. She mocked your faith like someone spitting at the sun. And now look at her. Homeless, partnerless, aimless, memoryless, just a shadow of who she once was. She wanted to bury you and ended up buried alive. It wasn't a hunch or paranoia. It was a warning from the universe. That woman, because she deserves no other title, moved earth, graves, and black candles to break you, to steal a destiny that didn't belong to her. It was out of pure envy, out of arrogance, out of that venom that boils inside her when someone like you rises in light while she sinks in shadow. For months on end, she went to sorcerers hidden in dark alleys, paying with dirty money for binding rituals, symbolic burials, and cursed words. She spoke your name on stained altars, wrote it in blood ink on papers that now burn in the fire of divine punishment. She asked for your downfall, begged for your ruin. She swore she would see you destroyed, even if it meant making a pact with something she doesn't even understand. And you, in silence, surrounded by the guardian angels protecting you from higher planes, you stood firm. You cried, yes, you doubted, but you didn't break. Because what she didn't know is that your name was sealed with sacred fire in the eternal records. And no spell can erase what heaven has already decreed. Archangel Michael, sword held high, had already seen everything. And while that woman laughed, thinking her spells were working, karma had already climbed onto her back like a shadow that would never let go. And today, the prophecy that many denied comes true. The witch has fallen. Yes, she literally fell. She was seen wandering the streets with a lost gaze, shoeless, talking to herself, carrying old bags as if they were treasures. She lost her house. She lost her partner. She even lost the dignity she once pretended to have. Her allies abandoned her. The people she paid to harm you now turn their backs on her. And you know what's the most twisted part of all this? That even in the midst of her misery, on the street, under the rain, she still asks about you. She still wants to know why you're shining while she's falling apart. She still doesn't understand that she messed with the wrong person. She didn't understand that your connection to the divine can't be severed with candles or cemetery dirt. Today, I tell you this forcefully and unfiltered. Everything she did to you is coming back to her, multiplied, and that return isn't stopping. What she threw out now whips back at her like an invisible lash. Her health is collapsing. Her mind is fragmenting. Her nights are a parade of nightmares. The very spirits she called upon now torment her, because karma doesn't warn. Karma acts. And if you felt in your chest that this is true, if there's a part of your soul that vibrates with this story, then decree it right now in the comments. Archangel Michael, activate my shield of divine justice. Because when you write it from the heart, the energy channel opens, the universe aligns, and your enemies fall, one by one. Don't doubt it. Like this video if you feel you are protected from above. Subscribe if you know there is something bigger moving in your favor. Archangel Gabriel shows me that by doing so, you connect with the hidden truth many don't want you to know. But someone unexpected is also going to fall. And not because of witchcraft, but because of betrayal. She used to say your prayers were fairy tales, that angels were myths, that nothing and no one could save you from the disaster she herself had invoked with symbolic burials, black candles, and binding spells cast at dawn. She even went so far as to say your tears were weak, that your prayers were ridiculous. And you knew it. You felt something moving in the air, a thick energy, a presence that wasn't your own. Your eyes would grow heavy at night. The nightmares became more real than your waking hours. Why? Because she was tirelessly, symbolically digging your ruin, like someone digging their own grave without knowing it. But there's something these people never understand. When you call upon the light with a broken heart, the entire heavens mobilize. And you did just that. While she was burning names, you were lighting white candles. While she was making pacts with things she doesn't understand, you were asking for protection. And that protection came, first as calm, then as peace. And one day, because this doesn't take long, she woke up voiceless. Literally, her throat was sealed. Not a murmur, not a word, just a grimace of desperation and dry tears. She tried to scream, but the scream got stuck between her chest and the hell she carried inside. The doctors were baffled. Medically, there's nothing wrong with her. Everything is in order, but she can't speak. And you know when it happened? Right after she mocked you for the last time. After saying your decrees were useless. From that moment, it was as if an invisible hand, a celestial hand, had shut off her channel of speech. And it doesn't end there. That same week, she ended up in the hospital. How? Nobody knows. She collapsed in the middle of the street, as if something invisible had swept her legs out from under her. They took her away in a wheelchair. Her eyes rolling, her mouth mute, a picture so disturbing that even the medical staff speaks about it in whispers. There's no clinical explanation, only the echo of what she herself caused. But this is no coincidence. This is what happens when you play with things you don't respect. Because she didn't just attack you. She attacked your angels. She messed with your altar, with your spiritual heritage, with the divine pact that was written long before you, and she ever crossed paths in this life. And today, you are witnessing how the angels deliver justice without you having to lift a finger. Because what is yours, what belongs to you by heavenly decree, cannot be touched by witchcraft or snatched by envy. If this is resonating in your soul, it's because your guides have already been showing you. Comment right now. Archangel Gabriel, seal me with your truth and block the path of those who lie. By doing so, you will be activating the channel of spiritual discernment. And if you feel this message is stirring something within you, touch the heart on this video with a like and subscribe, because that's how your guides will know you are ready to receive the revelations the universe has prepared for you. And pay attention, because it gets even more twisted. There's someone else who pretended to be your friend, someone who claimed to support you, but was delivering your name to another altar. And their darkest secret has just come to light. Do you remember her? Because it was recent. That woman you spoke with, the one who appeared out of nowhere, acting friendly, asking questions that were out of place. For many of you, yes, she had dark hair, a soft voice, a fake smile, eyes that seemed attentive but hid another intention. The conversation seemed casual, but something in your body tensed up. Something didn't feel right. And it wasn't paranoia. It was a warning. What you didn't know is that this woman was already marked. She had been consulting dark tarot for weeks, invoking guides that are not guides, making pacts with entities disguised as light. She performed a binding spell in your name. She buried photographs under a waning moon. She folded papers with your date of birth and tied them with red thread. She swore you would fall. And every word she uttered in that nocturnal ritual is now returning to her like a snake biting its own tongue. First, it was the nightmares, then the voices, then the forgetfulness. At first, she forgot dates, then places, then names, and finally, she forgot herself. Today, she wanders the streets, barefoot, disoriented, asking in silent screams, "Who am I?" No one answers because her soul is disconnected from this plane. She has been possessed by the very energy she invoked to see you destroyed. Those who knew her say she's not the same, that sometimes she laughs for no reason, that she talks to walls, that she makes strange gestures as if something invisible is dictating words into her ear. But the most shocking thing happened 3 days ago. They say she approached a church and couldn't enter. The door literally seemed to reject her. She stood frozen at the entrance, her eyes rolling, muttering in a language no one understood. Dogs howled. The lights flickered. The priest, upon seeing her, lowered his gaze and said just one word: infested. And she is, because her mind, her body, and her spirit are being dragged down by the pact she herself signed in Backfired. This woman didn't just want to see you defeated. She wanted to steal your soul. She wanted to enter your aura, to supplant your path, to absorb your blessing, to replace you in a destiny that was never granted to her. But the heavens responded. Your guardian angels, led by Archangel Michael, formed a circle around you. They sealed your name, and when they sealed it, her name was left open like a wound in the dark plain. She screamed your name so many times in rituals that she ended up forgetting her own. That's not madness. That's astral justice. Because no one, absolutely no one, can cross the line that the guardians of heaven have drawn. If you have felt that strange energy in your body, if you've noticed flies, strange noises at night, dreams of doors opening by themselves, it's because this story is yours. And I ask you now, with all the strength of your spirit, to decree this phrase in the comments. Archangel Michael, I reclaim my mind, my body, and my destiny, sealed in divine light. Do it now, and you will see how the energetic threads begin to break, because by declaring it, you activate the channel of celestial judgment. And if this is resonating with you, tap the thumbs up symbol, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because in doing so, you open the portal to the hidden knowledge being released for you. Archangel Gabriel showed it to me clearly, and when he speaks, the earth trembles. But this doesn't end here, because there's something few dare to tell you, that my guides are whispering in my ear that I must tell you bluntly. You didn't know, but while you were getting up every morning to decree light, while your lips invoked divine protection, and your soul began to awaken, she had already pinned your name to a piece of paper, smeared it with oils that smell of death, and buried it face down in foreign soil. She did it with rage, with envy, with a hunger for what you didn't even know you had. Because she, that astral tick, never wanted to be like you. She wanted to be you. And since she couldn't match your energy, she tried to defile it. She burned, twisted candles, invoked entities she should never have called, and in the middle of a dark circle, she dared to curse you. At that exact moment, on the skin of her left arm, a black mark appeared and began to grow. At first, it was just a spot, an irregular shadow that looked like a poorly healed bruise. But what no one imagined is that this mark moves, changes shape, writhes. And every time you shine, every time you lift up a prayer, she feels the mark burn, as if your success were acid falling on her skin. And it's not just any mark. This mark has a life of its own. Doctors don't know what to say. They've pricked it, scanned it, photographed it. Nothing. It doesn't respond to medication. It's not a fungus, not an allergy, not a burn. It's something else. An energy sealed in living flesh. It is the visible punishment for the invisible. It is the sign of judgment on her skin. And no, this isn't a metaphor. It's real. The universe wanted everything she did in secret to be marked on her body for all to see. They say she sometimes tries to cover it with long sleeves, but the mark moves up her arm. Other times, it moves down. They say that one night, in front of the mirror, she saw the mark take the shape of a snake. She screamed, called someone on the phone, asked for help, but no one came. because her energy can no longer stand company. People avoid her. Even her own shadow turns its back on her, because those who fill themselves with darkness cannot remain. Where light has been decreed, and you decreed it weeks ago, perhaps without knowing, when you said with a broken soul, "What is mine? Let it return. What is not, let it go." That day the angels began to move. Archangel Michael sealed your name. Archangel Gabriel covered your words, and the spiritual judgment was activated. Clarity came to you. The curse she had prepared came to her. Because what is launched with hate returns with fire. And if you are reading this now, it is no coincidence. It's because your spirit needed it. Comment right now, as one who decrees to the universe and not to chance. Archangel Michael, cover my skin, my words, and my destiny with the celestial shield. Let that phrase seal your energy field. Do it with intention and activate the channel of protective fire. Touch the heart on this video if you felt the shiver in your chest, and subscribe, because that is how the universe will know that you are already on the right side of the judgment. And yes, Archangel Gabriel asked that I say it. When you do, sacred information begins to flow. But be careful, because I must reveal something even darker. She didn't get stained alone. One of her marks also appeared on the body of someone you still consider innocent. You think you knew her, that she was that acquaintance from years ago, the one with whom you shared a coffee, a chat, a secret, the same one who laughed with you in school, who wrote to you from time to time, who claimed to have good vibes, that you felt something. And you weren't wrong, because she was one of those who participated. Maybe in your case, it was with an ex, that most of you watching this already suspect who it was. And I'm telling you, as the guides are showing me, it wasn't a stranger. It was someone with a specific name and a familiar face. She cried, but not from guilt. She cried from fear in front of the mirror, when she could no longer bear the weight of the pact, when what she invoked got out of her hands. Because yes, she used an inverted prayer, words that a witch gave her in an old notebook, phrases she had to repeat while looking at her own reflection. And she did it. She repeated everything. She thought she was alone, that it was just another experiment, that no one was listening. But the mirror was. That night something happened. As she spoke, her reflection stopped mimicking her. It just stared at her, motionless, without blinking, as if what was on the other side was no longer her. And then it happened. An invisible force pushed her, as if the air had shattered in two. The sound died, the light flickered, the mirror vibrated, and something sucked her in. She screamed. No one heard her because it was too late. The person who came out of the bathroom that night was not her dot. Her partner noticed it first. He said her eyes didn't shine the same way, that her body odor had changed, that her laugh was no longer hers. Animals avoided her. Children cried when they saw her. Her shadow seemed to move faster than her steps. And the strangest thing, the mirror began to fog up every time she passed by, even if there was no steam, even if it was cold. Since then, she's had inexplicable episodes. She talks in her sleep in languages she doesn't know. She writes meaningless symbols. She has tried to open portals on the floor, in the bed, in the kitchen. And one time, they found her muttering your name with her eyes rolled back into her head. No one understood why. But you do. Because she was part of the burial ritual they did to you, part of the pact, part of the attempt to seal your path. But they couldn't. Because the shield that surrounds you is not just any shield. It's your guardian angels sent by divine decree. Archangel Michael marked your aura with sacred fire. And since then, every curse they tried to send you has returned, multiplied. This woman can no longer hold her form, And you know it because something in your body activates. When she is near, a shiver, a sudden unease. Your soul detects it because it's not her. It's the energy that inhabits her. And if you're feeling that this reading is speaking directly to you, don't ignore it. Decree this phrase in the comments right now. Archangel Gabriel, may my reflection always be my own and my energy never be supplanted. Do it with an open heart and you will see how the channel of ancestral protection activates. Tap the like button on the video if you've ever felt that someone was no longer who they claimed to be. Subscribe, because by doing so, you release light upon your lineage, and Archangel Michael has shown that every click from you seals a pact of spiritual protection. But the reading doesn't end here, because the spirit that crossed over from the mirror hasn't left yet, and now it's looking to enter someone else. She wanted it all. Your energy, your place, your destiny. But imitating you wasn't enough. She went further. She joined with other venomous mouths, shared rotten laughter, and threw your name around like a curse disguised as a joke. She did it all in that same corner, that same place, that dark space where malicious tongues feel comfortable. There, they mocked your prayers. There, they laughed as they wove your downfall. What they didn't know was that at that very moment, Archangel Michael was already taking notes. And what is woven with shadow ends up strangling the one who casts it. That place, the very spot where they thought your light would be extinguished, was the same place where they found her, lying on the ground with an empty gaze and dirty feet. She was sleeping in a fetal position behind the trash cans, as if she had been returned to dust. They say she was babbling. They say she was naming someone. Some swore they heard your name under her breath, as if a part of her knew she was paying for every word she had launched with rage. She had no shoes, no coat. Her clothes were tattered, her skin full of marks and bruises with no apparent cause. The judgment wasn't symbolic. It was real, visible, physical. The people who once surrounded her disappeared. The same ones who applauded. Her venom now crossed the street when they see her, because her energy has changed. She is no longer the witch disguised as a friend. She is the carrier of a living curse, the one who bears the echo of failed binding spells and inverted burials. Every time she breathes, dogs bark. Every time she tries to speak, something interrupts her, because she no longer has a spiritual voice. It was extinguished by divine decree. And you are still standing, because your guardian angels surrounded you with an invisible circle of fire. Because when you cried in silence, your decrees activated portals. Because you prayed while she cursed. You asked for light while she wrote your name in dark ink. And the universe saw that. The balance arrived. Karma showed up unannounced, and it was right there, right at that moment, that everything turned around. And if this story is touching your heart, if you feel that this is more than just a tale, then it is time to declare your protection with force. Write in the comments right now, Archangel Michael, make me untouchable by any mouth, and may every tongue that rises against me be silenced. Activate your circle of light. Touch the heart on the video if you were ever wished ill and you overcame it in silence. Subscribe so that the voice of Archangel Gabriel can continue to whisper revelations to you. Because when you decide to be part of this channel, you also become part of the channel of hidden knowledge that your enemies will never be able to cross. But don't go yet, because the guides have just shown me a vision. Her fall was synchronized with the collapse of someone else. Yes, someone you never thought was on the other side. You knew something wasn't right. You felt it the day you woke. Up with a tight chest and a fleeting image crossed your mind. Your things, your belongings, your papers, they weren't where they should be. You knew it without proof. You sensed it without witnesses. Because when you have a connection to the divine, your guardian angels whisper to you before the damage is done. And yes, you were right. That person who pretended to be neutral, who played both sides, who even extended a hand to you while taking from you with the other, had hidden your things like cursed trophies, believing they were gaining power. They kept documents with your name, photographs, a bracelet you had forgotten at their house, even cash that was once yours, and that you didn't even remember touching. But everything had your energy. Everything carried your spiritual fingerprint. And that, in impure hands, transforms into a curse. What is stolen without permission becomes poison in the hands of another dot. And so it happened. One by one, the objects began to deteriorate without any logical reason. The banknotes split in half without being folded. The photograph became stained with black mold, as if it had been buried in damp earth. And the most valuable document, that paper they kept as a trophy of their supposed triumph, disintegrated between their fingers as if it were wet ash. Those who were present saw it and couldn't believe it. No one touched it. No one broke it. It decomposed as if it had been cursed. But it wasn't a curse. It was a judgment, a decree from on high. Because what is yours by destiny cannot be usurped without consequence. This person didn't just keep your things. They performed rituals, spells of silence, used animals, blood, cemetery dirt. There are witnesses who saw it, though they deny it out of fear. One of those rituals was done on a Friday, during a waning moon, with a black hen and a rusty pin, all with a single objective: to seal your luck, to erase your path, so you would never shine again. But they made a mistake that all ignorant sorcerers make. They invoked without knowing what would answer from the other side. Because what is moved by rage returns with hunger, and now they are living it in their own flesh. The hands with which they held your energy now have strange stains that neither soap nor alcohol can remove. They burn, they ache, they itch at night. They say they've had nightmares where the only thing they see is your face, but not smiling, rather enveloped in light, surrounded by angels pointing at them with swords. The document turned to dust, but it wasn't just paper. It was their last thread of stability. And if you are feeling that this is not just a story, but a confirmation for you, then decree right now in the comments: what was stolen from me, by divine justice, disintegrates in enemy hands and returns to me multiplied. Activate your channel of fire with Archangel Gabriel. Leave your touch on the video if you ever felt something of yours was taken without reason. And subscribe, not for trend, but because this is where the truths that others prefer to keep silent are revealed to you. This channel is not a coincidence. It's a portal and you opened it. Archangel Michael asks it. And when you decree with faith, the energy obeys. Dark energy collects its debt, and it collects dearly. And this time, the bill went directly to the soul of someone who thought they could support evil without consequence. She was a woman with a cold gaze, a twisted smile, and a venomous tongue. One of those who applauded from the shadows every time that witch spoke ill of you. One of those who played at being spiritual, but who, in the early morning hours, lit black candles in front of a nameless altar, where she offered your name wrapped in red thread and cemetery dust. But this time she crossed the line, because she wasn't content to just watch. She wanted to act. She joined in a ritual burial where a jar was buried with dirt, stolen hair, and a paper with your forged signature. The objective was clear: to strip you of your energy, your abundance, your peace. They believed that if they buried your name, they would also bury your destiny. But what they didn't know is that on that day, one of your guardian angels descended upon that place. They say that Archangel Michael, with his sword wrapped in blue light, marked that space with invisible fire. No one else saw it. No one else felt it, but you did. That night, you woke up suddenly with your heart racing, and that woman's name on your lips. It was the sign. Hours later, in front of the lit altar, something happened. She was alone. She had lit 3 black candles and 1 red one. She had a ribbon tied around her left hand, and an inverted image in front of her. She was reciting a distorted prayer with words that seemed learned from an ancient tongue. In that moment, one of the candles exploded. The smoke formed a figure, and then, without warning, she collapsed, as if a force had pushed her from within. Her head hit the floor. The altar burned without a visible flame, and from that instant, her body never moved the same way again. They took her to the hospital, but the doctors found nothing, no blow, no fainting spell, no cause. They said maybe it was psychological. But you know it wasn't. It was energetic, it was spiritual, it was judgment. Because he who touches the sacred without permission activates a portal of punishment. And she opened it with her own hands. Since that day, she cannot pronounce your name. When she tries to talk about you, her tongue gets tied. She has tried to communicate with you through messages, but her phone turns off, her devices fail, her texts get deleted. Your energy is sealed and they can't stand it. That's why the punishment has begun, in a chain reaction. Decree now in the comments. Everyone who wanted to destroy me will be brought down by their own invocations. My angels guard me, and the judgment has already been activated. Activate your shield of protection just by touching the heart on the video, and subscribe if you feel the call is for you. Because Archangel Gabriel has already shown you this message. And whoever ignores the sign closes the door to knowledge. It's no coincidence you are here. Here, the hidden is revealed to you. You already know. The one who laughs when you cry, cries twice as hard, and not with normal tears, but with liquid fire that burns the soul. Because the tears of late remorse don't come from regret. They come when the punishment is already irreversible. This story belongs to someone very close to her, one who seemed innocent but knew everything. He knew about the binding spells, the burials, the rituals with cemetery dirt and dead animals, and he never said a word. He remained silent while they were destroying you. And now that silence has turned into a living curse for him. It was in the early morning, 3:13 a.m., the same time when dark entities come down to collect favors. This man woke up screaming. It wasn't a human scream. It was a kind of shriek, as if his throat was speaking in 2 voices at once. His family thought he was dreaming, but when they turned on the light, they saw his eyes were wide open. And the tears falling from his face weren't tears. They were thick, red, hot lines. He was crying blood, and he couldn't stop repeating a single name. Yours. They took him to the hospital. There was no medical cause. He didn't have a single broken capillary, no infection, no injury, no explanation. But you know this doesn't need an explanation. It needs a revelation, and I'm giving it to you now. Someone from that witch's inner circle asked for your destruction. He was a witness, an accomplice, and while you were falling, that person fed on your pain, like someone drinking wine at a cursed altar. But apparently, that same being made a fatal mistake. He stole something of yours to take to the burial, a piece of clothing, an object with your energy, a photo that had been on your altar of light. And with that, he activated the code of judgment, because no one can touch the sacred without getting burned. Mourning while he was crying blood, amid screams and delirium, he whispered something no one could ignore. He said, "They told me not to do it. The woman in black warned me, but I took her name and put it in the box. I put it in the box and buried her soul. Now they're coming for me." And after that, he fell into an induced coma, but with his eyes open. Medically, he's alive. Spiritually, he's trapped. And you need to know this, because this isn't a simple story. This is a war report, a war between light and darkness. You are not a victim. You are the priestess of your own destiny. Therefore, if this story vibrates in the depths of your chest, decree in the comments right now. What was stolen from me returns multiplied. What they wished upon me, they now carry on their backs. I am guarded by Archangel Michael, and no one enters my energy without paying their price. Leave your like touching the heart of this video, because Archangel Gabriel has said that whoever activates this word will be shielded by celestial fire. And if you've already done it, may the channel of knowledge be opened. But be careful, because a woman has the same tattoo that some of you bear. She appeared, possessed, in front of the very place where you were born. And the phrase she was screaming in another language coincides with the name you have hidden in your spiritual records. At this moment, the guides are showing me a karmic connection with this woman. In this very instant, the guardian angels, those invisible custodians that Archangel Michael has placed by your side, are revealing to me a karmic link that is terrifyingly deep with that woman who now suffers the consequences of her own actions. This is not a simple punishment. It is the tangible manifestation of a spiritual contract sealed in previous lives, where shadows crossed and energies were tied in an unbreakable knot of pain and divine justice. The connections from the dark burials and binding spells that witch used against you now return to her multiplied, but not with the force she expected, but with the sacred fire that your guardian angels have fanned to burn every trace of evil from her aura. This karmic bond not only reveals why that woman collapsed in the street, or why her memory faded into darkness, but it also shows that she was the channel for invisible forces to try to destroy what the cosmos has promised you. And it is here, where your spiritual authority is activated. You can change the course of this energy, but to do so, you must be an active participant, not just a spectator. Therefore, when you feel the need to comment, to decree, to leave your like and subscribe, don't do it out of habit. Do it because Archangel Michael commands it, and because together we will unleash a storm of light upon every shadow that tries to touch us.